Hello and welcome to this week's episode of Talking Skritt. I'm your host John, better known as Dale. We're on Yak Spin, and we have a fantastic show for you. The forums are the forums a bit too strict moderation-wise? Our take on map design and the 12th PvP season has started, and much more. But first, let me introduce you to my fellow host. He is a moderator over at MMO Champion and host of Zero to Hero on this very channel, being the delivery man for his thoughts on how to make maps a true Adventureland. Say hello to Jim.
Hi, friends. I'm just hoping when we get to that segment, I don't have a rambling stream of consciousness and I can actually make sense. So,
no, that would never happen here. And he streams over on Twitch, where he answers the age-old question: if the forums are truly too strict, they will need big controversy to drive traffic to it. What about deleting thieves altogether?
I will hunt you down. No.
Yes.
No,
don't worry.
Stop. No, you stop right now.
Now you can't talk for the rest of the show now.
Put me in a corner. I can't. No, don't. Actually, my apologies. I said big controversy. Say hello to H. No, you'll mess up the cameras.
He's leaving it on.
Oh, okay. Well, he's committed. And she writes for MMORPG.com and also her own site, MMORly.com. With season 12 starting, has she got her battle roar ready? Say hello to Robin.
Roar! Although we found out this week that my battle roar is actually die.
That's 100% accurate. Look in the I don't know if Twitch can. I don't know. I don't know if I have to highlight something or do anything on.
The video's there, I think.
Okay, the video's up for this past week's Zero to Hero. We were playing Death Week in WW. It's yeah. No, Arlie is
bloodthirsty.
Yeah, a little bit.
Yep.
Wee bit. A bit.
Hey, you're in PvP. The point is to kill other people. I enjoy it. Okay.
It's WW, man. It's not PvP. It's different.
Whatever.
You gotta make the world bleed. Well, that sounds creepy. But you know, that's the bloodthirstiness you need for PvP. And like we said, PvP season 12 has started this past week. So I mean, the real question is, has anyone actually hopped in? Because I know you guys, like you said, with Zero to Hero, you really wanted to try out the World v World.
Well, that and
we
were talking about how sometimes the placements right at the beginning when everybody's doing placements is kind of terrible. So
to be fair, I've never had a good placement session. Every time I've done placements, I've had at least two games where people AFK. And that doesn't matter when I've done my placements. So.
Well, I don't know. Maybe if you wait until like 3 weeks before the end of the season, that's the optimal time to do placements, because it worked out well for me.
Yeah, and you just got slapped into gold, and it's just like,
I got slapped into gold 3 even. Like, it was crazy.
Account boosting, PvP reset. You heard it here.
Clearly, I was boosting Arlie to gold because that's what matters.
Yes.
Wow, we'll be part of the season 12 PvP controversy. That'll be great for our loads of people to watch.
Great for the ratings. We're part of the problem.
Talk about
That's a headline.
Oh man. I did jump into PvP this week. I didn't do ranked. I just did unranked because I just wanted to see how it was, and it is not fun. As a thief player, it's not fun.
Well, maybe as unranked, so
no. Like I'm not judging on people's play. I lost the game, but like I didn't judge it based on how people were performing. I was just judging based on the fights I were having, and I cleansed 7 condies off a 1v1 with Scourge 3 times. He still got 7 condies on me.
Wow.
And I'm like, what?
Yeah, no, it's Scourge is still incredibly oppressive, if only because you can't use resistance because they corrupt it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and Mirages are really hard to nail down 1v1. So you definitely need 2v1s.
To be fair, Mesmer has kind of always been hard to nail down.
Well, it's harder on Mirage just because the axe allows for a lot of blanking. But yeah, and Guardians and Warriors still have a lot of blocks, and I don't know. It's just not appealing to me right now. So I'm gonna probably have to wait until another meta shift, which is kind of disappointing because I kind of wanted to jump back into PvP again, but yeah,
Tough it out.
I'd have to not play Thief, and that kind of sucks too. Because
yeah,
it does suck playing Thief. Oh, you meant the other thing. Sorry.
Wow, he's just coming at you hard this week.
I've been memed by a whole bunch of people about how Thief is just bad right now, so it's okay.
It's all right. I still love you, H.
You know, I might, Jabu. I might go Scrapper and just be some kind of annoying bunker healing thief or healing engineer and just make Scourges sad. So
yeah, Chad was talking about like comparing their games 3 weeks ago compared to the ones now, and a big difference. It looks like they were having about very close matches to kind of what looks like blowouts. Are you noticing that too, Age? Or
I would imagine much more people would take the season more seriously at the start, just because it's the start of the season, and then as time goes on, people will probably care less because they're probably more or less where they want to be. But yeah.
Yeah, you just have to break down and go double pistol Deadeye.
I hate them.
I see that's kind of the problem. I'm not gonna get into it. Anyway, I will say just I can destroy Deadeyes no matter what they are, but there's a whole ecosystem around that. I don't want to get into that because we'll be here all day.
Okay.
Here's me. I was about to be like, no, go for it. She's like, no, moving on.
Just
well,
dropping the Traherne on that. Moving on.
Yeah. Well, we can always talk about it during after show, or if people want to know, if on YouTube, we can always talk about it there in the comments. But any other thoughts on the PvP season itself?
Good luck. Play a Scrapper and just live, I guess. You'll be fine. Healing is really good on Scrapper right now, so take advantage of that. If you're good at Scourge, use that. If you're good at Mesmer, use that.
Oh, I'm better at Mesmer now. I could do that.
There you go.
Nice.
I'm not saying like everything else is bad, but it's just like those are the picks I would choose if I were like proficient at them, I guess. Those are some solid picks. Yeah.
Cool. So good luck in PvP, everybody. But next best thing, if you're getting killed over and over, what do most people do? They go to the forums and shout about it. Speaking of the forums, are they getting too strict? Well, one person on Reddit actually had an image and made a post of a topic that it looked like they replied to. And I have the post here, and they blocked out their name, but I also blocked out the moderator's name just for equality. I don't know. Fairness, something like that. But yeah, if you look at it, you can read it there. But basically what the post that they said was, and this is them saying it, I personally like to make more grounded or darker looking characters. Pretty much achieved that, but doing so made me realize how little options I had to work with. Hell, go anywhere in game and most characters you see are tacky human female with endless auras of pink and rainbow and glittery crystals. It looks really bad, but it's what most of the design choices are. I hope to see more toned down designs in the future and less tacky ones.
Yeah.
I don't understand why that got flagged.
My guess is because that he said that people who look a specific way, and he gave some examples, are tacky looking, and that can be seen by some people as being an attack on people who choose to do that with their characters.
See, the problem is, like, at the same point, this post getting removed is the exact same thing. It can be seen as an attack on people who prefer more realistic looking characters.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it's literally the...
Well, what I'm saying is, I think if he had made that post but left out the thing of saying that this and this and this is tacky and that's all you see, if he had just left it at, I would like more options for darker characters, blah, blah, or explain more what he meant by darker, because it's not...
I think you meant more sinister looking.
That's what I'm guessing, but it's also not 100% clear, like, if he meant, like, more darker skin options, because there are some dark ones, but there aren't as many as some of the lighter skin options, especially with the human and the Norns.
Mm.
And when they say darker looking characters, I thought thinking like maybe like sinister, or like making your character like maybe have more scar options or something like that. See, everybody's kind of seems like it's almost taking differently. Like,
well,
it's not clear, but yeah, it's not clear, and
more specific.
I really don't see it as any attack, really, but I guess it's totally, I guess it's subjective in this case.
It's making a judgment on the way other people choose to play, essentially. Whether you're offended or not, whatever, but they don't like to encourage people judging other people's play styles and stuff.
So I have many feelings about this now. Me and Arlie, we're moderators on MMO Champion, so we see just so much of this on a regular basis. Yeah, that look. She's a super moderator, so she's a site mod. I am a subforum mod. She sees more shit than I will ever deal with. I won't even volunteer for that.
Yeah.
I would not personally have flagged this post had it been on MMO Champion, because when I look at that, I see the whole thing about, the tacky comment as presented as personal opinion, and there's no definitive like statement of fact. You basically have to make a judgment call of whether or not he's saying this is absolutely the thing. When I read this whole post, it says to me, it is harder for me to make a more down-to-earth or darker / evil looking character than it is to make a gaudy one.
Yeah.
And as a person who used to main Elementalist, and for the longest time I just skinned full Vigil light armor, it's really hard to do a light armor character that doesn't get put in like long flowy robes or some kind of crazy looking mask.
Yep. I had the same problem with my Necro.
And yeah, exactly. It's really difficult to get something that like, and then you have to do like the Reaper hood if you want something that's like sinister looking, and it's like, yeah, but that's too dark. Like, that's too evil, because it's just like now your face is just a black void. And it's like you spent how much time getting your character to look exactly like you want, and you're just like, no, you are darkness.
And I kind of agree with what Chad's saying. I'm fine with the mod response, because I've seen them do that in the past where they're like, hey, this thing's starting to pick up traction, just be civil to one another, and if you can't, we will close it, blah blah. But to close it right then and there, I mean, I feel personally that it's a bit overkill.
I have to agree. Is like, I would have dropped, like, if it was seriously, and the thing is, context matters. My primary issue here is that we see, and I'm not just dropping this and saying that the guy's lying. Infer that, I have to state that outright, because this is the internet. I don't want to say the guy's lying, but we're seeing a screenshot. It is so easy to edit a web page on your end, on the client side, take a screenshot and then post that somewhere as though it's fact. So without context, this is really hard to judge in a vacuum. Does this person have a post history of complaining about people? Is this in a thread where there's already been a moderator warning about going off topic or about picking it the way people skin their characters? There's just so much that we don't see here. So without a link to where it is in the official forums,
which you can't do if it's been deleted.
Yeah.
So
which again we don't even know because he's just said this was deleted. So.
Well, and also, like, you know, even if it was something that's deleted, it's totally possible that he could have gone on more and said more things, and that's why it was deleted. It's hard to, like Mouth was saying, it's hard to judge it because it does seem like on this that it's overkill to get rid of something like that, but we don't have enough of the information to know.
Mm-hmm.
And that's and Zekriox, that is what I took from his comment, is that the guy who posted it feels that, taking everything here at face value, is that he feels there are not enough options for people that want a more realistic looking character. And I get that.
Yeah, kind of like how like Mal'Thanius wants like simpler mounts versus the flashy mounts. That's what I thought like when I read this.
Well, and that's the thing, like I kind of hope like Arena maybe looks at how the moderators do this and maybe implements a policy of like when I have to change something or give corrections at my place of work, I have to list what it's violating or what the issue is. So the person can actually, like, they're basically saying, yeah, something's wrong here that we don't like it. Here's a link. It could be any of these things, which we're all interpreting it differently. That moderator might be interpreting it differently.
Yeah.
Like, honestly, I was trying to go through there and I was like, well, you know, and we'll kind of go through the post again of like how to, you know, create good feedback. And, you know, some of the things are like give details and examples and like basically speak from experience. Like, and they kind of suggest like how do other games do it and stuff. It's like, well, Guild Wars 2 is kind of one of those games where they said if you don't like MMOs, try Guild Wars 2. Like, so there might be people here that don't have that experience, so they should, like, are you gonna say that they don't have a good enough voice to, like, if they're handing you money and you want them to continue to hand you money, I mean, I'm not saying cater to every need because then you're not going to get anywhere.
Yeah.
But to just instantly write them off saying, well, they didn't play any other MMO out there. It's like,
I do want to go back to something that Zed said in chat about moderating on the assumption of offending someone. Again, that requires context. There are frequent people on MMO Champion who post in a certain way that do not use inflammatory language. They do not outright attack anybody. But because we see their history, we have been watching these people. I have a person in the Paladin subforums that they have a behavior, and it is not outright breaking the simple rules, like don't insult people, don't troll. Like, he doesn't outright troll, so it takes several posts for him to get hit for something. Like, if you were to just look at one of his posts and then see I hit him for that post, yeah, you could see, you know, you're assuming he's offending people. And it's like, yeah, but I know this person. I know their posting habits. I have context. So again, minus context, this is not, we cannot definitively say this is, you know, thought policing.
Well, I mean, the other thing is too, on the whole idea of infracting or moderating on offense or not offense, you can't really do that because there's such a variance on what some people find offensive and what other people find offensive. Really, you have to set basic guidelines of what kind of tone, what kind of things are good and not, and it doesn't matter whether somebody was or was not offended by something, because also you can't wait for that reaction to decide. You can't wait for somebody to be like, oh my God, I'm so offended or whatever. Like, we see something that needs to be taken care of, it needs to be taken care of. So there's that. I don't, Bjorn had mentioned like maybe a moderator was moderating and his first language wasn't English. I have no reason to suspect that's a thing. as far as I know, people mostly moderate in their main languages for the different forums that they have in different languages. They have some community people who, of course, English is a second language for them, but their English level is really high. Like I would put it above like native speakers, some native speakers that I've known. Yes. So
Deo's dogs agree.
I would personally doubt that would be an issue here. More likely than anything, I would guess we're not seeing the full context in the thing the guy provided, or there's something else going on that we just don't know about.
That and Zed, the whole thing about stalking a user because their nature annoys you. It's for me specifically, like I'm a sub forum. I am a mod of the Paladin class forum.
Yeah, I was gonna say it'd be different if it was. I was gonna mention that, like, in your situation, it's a subform, so it's basically one spot. Now, if it was across all these things, there's still a case of being said of. I'm sure moderators I've done in the past talking with people like, hey, this person's been causing trouble in this department. Watch, just keep an eye on it. That's not stalking. That's just giving fellow moderators or people in. A heads up, but
the repeat offenders, you learn about them. Like their posting habits just because they come up a lot. It's not really stalking. It's just like
learning.
Yeah,
that's literally moderating.
Yeah, you know a person has a certain pattern of behavior, and it's just a thing that happens.
Also, if you know that you've had action with somebody for a particular behavior in the past and then they continue that behavior, then of course you're going to hit them again because clearly they did not learn the lesson and they really should know better at that point.
That and the thing that he is talking about for banning due to screening social media or something, that's the fine line that you kind of have to tread. The guy that I have regular issues with on the Paladin subforums, I know he's going to do it again because he's literally been doing it since I've been a moderator on MMO Champion, which was just before Wrath of the Lich King launched. So that's, holy shit, is that like 10 years now?
It's been quite a while, yeah. I think it's been more than 10 years.
When WoW was still good. Isn't that the internet, right?
See, and that's the problem, Zed, is we don't know about leeway. I will say I don't know, so I can't offer too much of an opinion other than just on the case of moderating because I don't spend much time on the official forums. Honestly, if I'm going to look for a public forum for Guild Wars 2, I'm going to go to Reddit. I am more likely to go to Reddit than to the official forums because I feel like the devs are more active there. I feel like the community managers are more active there. Like, it's...
And honestly, you say that we were given the reasons behind, like, clearly he did edit this screen, like the screenshot he made because he blacked out his name. And then all I did, like I said, was black out the moderator's name in fairness. I mean,
yeah.
But yeah, he definitely at least edited it. That, as far as we know, looks like the only thing. But like we were saying earlier, this could be, like Jim was saying, he could even edit the page on his end to make it look differently. Or you could just easily cut and drag things, and like you wouldn't even need to know how to edit a web page, the page to do that.
Yeah.
Let's assume it's not doctored. Let's assume
yeah, that's why I was saying I'm not saying the guy's lying, but it's like it's very much a he said, she said situation with how it's presented right now. Now, Zed's also bringing up that apparently the forum has a history of overzealous moderation, which again I can't speak to. Because like I said, I
haven't seen it, but
the thing is, people can say it's overzealous moderation and blow things out of proportion. Like I will regularly hit people for swearing at other forum users, and it's like one of the very few direct don't do this in MMO Champion. It's like don't insult other people, and it's just like smack, don't insult other people. Why are you being a Nazi? And that's what we get called Nazis for being like don't insult each other. So See, the problem is, Mac, it's taking a pretty crazy turn because we can't really speak to the specific example for literally all of the reasons we've just enumerated on. So primarily for me and Arlie, it's just coming from MMO champion experience, and like, moderating is not easy.
Well, and I know people want to be like, assume he's being honest and just go with that. But for me, I have so much experience with moderating and seeing how often people lie about their bans and infractions and all of that shit, that anytime I see something that seems blatantly obvious like this and that I can't look further into to find out what the truth is, my initial thing is like, it's obviously there's something going on here we don't know about, because like, that's just my experience more often than not when I see things like that and I'm a MMO champion and then I look into it, it's bullshit. The person's lying. So.
And Chad, I do agree. Accountability is not a bad thing. And I even said that earlier with the moderator. I hope they maybe implement a policy where they're linking to that thing, but saying you violated this, so they can like I said, if you go to that link that they posted, and we'll have it in the YouTube comments or the description and stuff like that, but it lists so many different things. It's like, how do you know what you did or didn't do? So I would really wish they would say, like, as per this link, we think you violated blah blah blah. It's like,
I will admit,
we're gonna close it for that. I would like to see that.
Oh my God, Arlie, don't post that to me. Don't send me that message. November 13th, 2008, launch of Wrath of the Lich King. I have been moderating for over 10 years. God damn it. One of the things that I endeavor to do whenever I do take some moderator action is I try to say, this is what you did. I put that in the administrative note. I put that into the note to the user, because there are both of those things. There's a reason for that, Zed. There's a reason for not being able to discuss moderation. I'll get to that in a second. And that's like, I always try to, there was a point in time when I started moderating where I would actually go to the rules page and copy the link to the subsection and send that to the person, so that they would get the link directly to the section of the rules that says, this is what you did wrong. However, the whole thing with, okay, since I have experience with warnings, deleted posts, and the official forums, I could say the moderator's message is an automated response. That's possible too. Like, it could just be a boilerplate. But the whole thing with discussing moderation on a forum is because it very regularly derails a thread. Like, you'll smack, like, there have been a number of threads that I've had to just outright close that had good discussion going on in them, because people just would not stop talking about something I had done. And it's like, okay, like that person just said, go F yourself and jump off a cliff. And it's like, that's literally the entire contents of their post. I can't even like say that they saved it by trying to be helpful in another, like there's no more to that. And they were complaining about it. So discussing stuff in, like, you take that to PMs, you take that to a private channel, talk to a moderator, because otherwise you're just going to derail everything else. Now I'm trying to catch up on chat.
I feel like it's just, when it comes down to moderation, I think it's interesting how it goes, because you kind of just naturally expect moderation to be good in and of itself, provided that they follow the guidelines, all the rules and stuff. And when people aren't happy with the moderations on forums, let's say they're not happy with the ArenaNet forums, they go on other different resources to discuss things, kind of like how it is with Reddit right now. People go to Reddit because they feel like they're just getting silenced on the forums a lot of the time, more often than not, or they're just not being heard as in.
Well, and Zed, to go off your example, that person that got the what was it, the ban, and versus the person that got the warning, did the other person have a history of instantly going that route of Like, have they already been told that before? That's what we were saying before. Like I said, I don't know every situation, and unfortunately, that is also the downside of having multiple people doing moderation, and that and it's kind of needed for a bigger group. Is you can train them as much as you want, but as soon as they get on the floor and are more loose, like, you know, in the wild of the forums, it is kind of like it could be one set of rules. Like, you know, maybe this person is just this moderator is having a bad day, and they decide to take it out on, unfortunately, this person. I'm not saying this one is or isn't, you know, but at that point, it's like, what are we going to have moderators for the moderators? That then defeats the purpose of the original moderators. Like, I mean, I'm sure they have some kind of Q, if it's a good system, have some kind of QA thing, but that usually is they will take maybe 20%, 10% of their responses and make sure they're doing, because once again, if they're looking at 100% of them, that defeats the point of having the moderators.
Yeah. Is there some kind of appeal system with the Guild Wars 2?
That is something
because I've never had an issue, so I don't know. I would imagine there would be, because that's a good way in general to bring up, you know, infractions and whatever actions to review and be like, oh, well, this was too overzealous, so you can teach the moderator who did it better. Or if it was an accurate thing, be like, yeah, that's fine, you know.
At the end of that mod message, it says forums.arena.net, so I assume inquiries can go there. So.
Okay.
And we'll see. The thing is, you say that, Ada. The whole thing that Arlie brought up is moderators for moderators. Is I said that Arlie was a super moderator early on. She is literally the moderator for my class of moderators. Like the blues, because regular moderators, forum levels are green. Super moderators are blue. Site admins are red. Those are the title ranks. See, and that's the problem, Mac, is eventually there's a point where it stops. But the whole idea of having a review process for moderator action against you is probably a better idea, and that's why, like, I know for a fact that I have made several infractions throughout my career at MMO Champion that got overruled because people they put in a complaint through official channels, and it got overturned, and it got removed from their account, and it's fine.
Yeah, I was gonna say, let the community regulate itself. The people that are cheering for Reddit over Guild Wars 2 forums, Reddit doesn't even do that. They then enact moderators. I mean, granted, from the community, but that's literally what they probably did for the moderators. They're people because then they have that system of you could be a moderator for Guild Wars 2 if you signed or if you did something. I remember we talked about that like a year ago or something.
It's been a while.
Even 4chan has moderators.
Yeah, it's so
community self-moderation.
Yeah, I was gonna say, please show me a community that regulates itself and doesn't put anybody at a higher level to deal with that stuff.
The Amish.
No,
I'm sure they have leaders.
Not the Amish. They do, and it's very strict. Very strict. The other thing is like, you know, when it goes to community self-moderation, then it's like the majority, whatever the majority thinks goes, and the majority sometimes is fucking dumb and terrible.
Wow.
So you cannot leave it to them.
I was just gonna say, I was like, downvoting is actually the worst thing, because that's a karma system. That's a popularity contest.
Yeah.
I've seen some great quality stuff that, because you're not Wooden Potatoes or, you know, one of the mainstream people that have a big backing,
you're forth not an opinion that somebody doesn't like.
That and the League of Legends subreddit, I think a year or so ago, had a huge problem with downvote upvote manipulation rings.
Yep. And
that goes through a whole bunch of different subreddits. Is you will just have a group of people that, I mean, it's not hard to create like free Reddit's free. So are emails. It's not that hard to forcibly downvote something that you don't like.
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
I mean, moderation is not an exact science. There's judgment calls, there's situations where one thing might be okay and another thing might not be okay. And it's about overall, what kind of community you want overall. And by definition, your community won't be for everybody, because like there are some people who want, no matter what guidelines that you put down, there are going to be some people who want to do whatever it is that you don't want to allow, and that's just the nature of it.
Zed, I don't know how a 5-minute delay would fix the upvoting and downvoting. That would just make it take 5 minutes longer.
No,
Right.
I think that's a cooldown on your ability to upvote or downvote.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
I was like,
like you get
All
one
right.
vote every 5 minutes, so that slows down the rate. It's one of those things where
but it still happens.
right. The thing is, okay, so it's really easy for people to make free accounts to stuff, right?
Mhm.
They can get past
Like on Reddit.
Like people have gotten past CAPTCHA, people have gotten past all of the verification stuff. Like they can do bots for it, but the whole point is the number. And this is cybersecurity stuff now, so it's all about the number of steps you have to force someone to automate. It gets to a point where it's not worth it to automate or even manually go through. That's one of the things we have where people like MMO Champion, you cannot evade a ban. If you are banned and you create a new account, start posting, we will find it, we will ban that, just permaban that secondary account.
I mean, it takes time sometimes, but yeah.
Because people are good at hiding their behavior, but like more often than not, they end up showing their cards and they get banned. And then it's one of those things where they can just do it again and do it again. But the whole point is, once we perma the account, they have to create a new email, they have to create a new account, they have to start posting again, they get caught again, repeat. So that 5-minute cooldown isn't a terrible idea. Maybe not 5 minutes, maybe 1 minute, maybe 2 minutes because of how fast Reddit is, but that's actually not a bad idea.
I don't.
Good. We get to start to talk about human behavior, because now that you're putting a 5-minute barrier on it, like I said before, and this isn't me bashing like one potatoes. I'm talking about the bigger content creators for any group. They have a following. They can all put their one thing in, but they're actually supporting their content creator, so they're doing something good, even though they're maybe putting a negative on maybe a new creator. But no, because they're supporting their big creator. So even if there's a 5-minute cooldown on your vote, if you have a big following, you can. And this was the problem with karma systems. People can create armies basically and destroying other people's content, and that'll. Guild Wars 2 doesn't need that right now. We got a lot of, what are we gonna call them? Bless refugees or blessugees? Like
bless you. I like that.
Bless
you. So, nice. And there's probably maybe a couple content creators that are there. If they can't get a footing in there, why would they want to stay where they can just go? Well, it's.
I mean, that's the thing, though. There's no simple answers with them.
Yes.
It's usually you have to do a combination of various things. And at the end of the day, it's going to come down to a human deciding shit. So
maybe this will actually get me to go onto the official forums to see if it's as bad as people say, because now I'm curious.
I don't mind them. I've used them some. I don't post often just because, I usually don't have much to add to things, but...
Yeah, I think if you're a frequent person on the forums, you'd see it more often. They're not the complaints anyway. But yeah.
And honestly, I saw some people in that Reddit thread talking about like, because I saw Warframe come up and they're like, oh, they're so great, and someone even replied like, no, they have those problems, and it kind of goes back to what we're saying is, it's unfortunately because humans are involved.
Just get rid of all the humans. Problems will be solved.
We're not saying that. Or Talking Skritt is not officially saying that. Unless in the future the robot overlords are watching this, then yes, we're. But
no,
I like that Fly the Conchords song.
Zed, you didn't derail. This is good because like, wasn't a great news week.
No, but honestly,
Yeah.
it kind of goes back. I wanted to bring it up when Jim, you were talking about one reason why they don't talk about moderation on the forums, because it derails or it consumes the thing.
Yeah.
I knew this was going to be a big topic. I didn't know it was going to be this long of a topic. So it even shows it on, like, I guess everybody always, maybe because they don't have feel like they have an outlet to say it, we just opened a can of worms and got all this, which, yeah, don't feel bad about it. I mean,
on a closely related topic, you guys remember back when Guild Wars 2 first launched in that first year or so, there were some people who got banned who were pissed off and started posting about how they were unfairly banned and shit. And then Chris Cleary came on and was like, no, actually, this is why you got banned, and posted their shit and everybody could see what a douchebag that person was. I personally love that because, like I said, I see that kind of stuff all the time, and it drives me crazy that we just have to kind of take people lying and we can't defend ourselves. On the other side, as much as I love that, I also know it caused problems for them because, again, you're revealing people's private information, and people don't like that. Even if they are completely in the wrong and misrepresenting stuff, revealing that information to other people can be an issue. So that's another reason why, like, open communication on all of these is difficult.
So the other thing is that going back to League of Legends, there used to be something called
Tribunal.
Yeah, well, it was the Tribunal, where it was basically crowdsourcing mod reports. The other thing was, after the Tribunal got closed, they had Riot Light, one of the behavioral team members. You could request a smiting from him, where he would basically say, yeah, like, you could be like, I was not terrible, and Light would come out and be like, I have receipts.
Nice.
And it got to a point where people were acting out just so they could get attention from a Riot. So
it's Doom all over again.
I was just gonna say, it's like Doom and Guild Wars 1.
Yep.
It's that's exactly it. Is, people would do shit to get doomed, and that's about it.
Yep.
And yes, Zed, that's her.
Yes.
Anything Corgi on our website, it's gonna be her.
I have the title Corgi Princess. That's me. My name's Arlie.
Hi, Arlie. I'm Age.
But I'm okay to move on because we just dropped 45 minutes on a discussion about moderation.
Yeah, I was gonna say, we can probably quickly recap the idea of what that original, what they put the message about of kind of posting, how to give good feedback on the forums, because that post wasn't perfect, but like I think we were all saying, I don't think it should have been escalated to that quick from at least that screenshot that we see.
I mean, ultimately, I think that post was taken down because it was attacking the human female meta, and that is just sacrilegious. So, yeah.
Clearly, the dark horse is the Norn female meta.
There you go. It's coming up.
It actually, I think it is, actually. Yeah.
But yeah, just to go quick over the original forum post of how to give good feedback. Basically they talk about suggesting improvements, give details and examples, present opinions as opinions and not facts, which, like I said, I feel like, I don't want to go back. I really don't want to go back to that previous one. But speak from experience, be accurate, use references, avoid making it personal. Don't take things personally, and share
on the
positives.
Personal thing, I think what they mean is don't try and turn your personal experience into everybody thinks this, but also don't personally go at people. I think telling them, I was doing this thing and this happened, and it really didn't work for me because of this and this and that. I think that would be fine because it gives them a really good actual example to hone in on and really understand what the problem is. Like, not keeping your posts general is not what they're going for there, I don't think. because that would be really not useful to anybody at all.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I follow these guidelines, but honestly, I just don't feel like giving feedback. I this is my personal opinion, but I just feel like giving feedback is sometimes useless.
It can feel that way, yeah.
And that's just because whenever it comes to thief balance, I'll always be around watching people's opinions, and I'll give my own every now and then, and I'll distinctly, when they're doing like the Did I rework, for example, is one of the most recent things. I gave, actually no, not the Did I rework. It was the thief balance patch before the rework, and they were doing specific things to thief, and I looked over all of them and said like everything is good except for this, and this is why. And a lot of people had that similar opinions as I did, but it feels like that got overlooked and it just happened anyway. So I'm like, at this point, I've done this multiple times. It's always resulted in they'll do whatever they want anyways, and then like 6 to 8 months later, they'll actually do the feedback.
Yeah.
Or like a majority.
Well, I mean, when do you offer that stuff? Because like you said, 6 to 8 months, that's usually when the next cycle, this stuff has already been in, like, pretty much.
I was gonna say, yeah, because the cycles, like when they're asking for feedback, it's not for immediate. It's not
unless something's seriously broken.
Yeah, unless something's just literally not working, they can't immediately make those changes. They have to take those suggestions, test them out internally, do tweaking, all of that, and like do a lot of internal stuff before they'll put it out there.
Yeah, but that example I gave was before, like they were literally asking for feedback so that they could iterate on it, and like,
yeah,
wow. So that's why
that's also the problem is we don't know their development cycle. Kind of like what Arlie's mentioning is, even though they're asking for iteration, that might be for like we want your opinions, maybe even after, we're going forward with this, but afterwards, if you already see something that, because it might have already been like already through the process of, whatever their process is.
It doesn't make sense to ask then at that point.
Well, I mean, but if they need that much time.
But you might as well ask for feedback after the patch then, because I don't see the point of asking beforehand.
The other problem is it comes from their anti-hype.
Yeah.
Where it's like, yeah, that's great feedback. Thanks. You told me it was great feedback. Why didn't you implement it?
Yeah. Jebicool, what I mean for immediate fixes of something being broken, I mean like literally doesn't work. Like you randomly can't equip a weapon that you're supposed to be using, or something.
Yeah, those things that I understand.
Trash. Like those they can fix usually pretty quickly. Any other kind of fix, like the thing about MMOs is they're not in a vacuum. Changing one thing anywhere always has effects on other things, and it can be sometimes surprising where those will come up. So you have to test stuff. Yes.
That and I've found that the definition of a developer for broken is what Arlie was saying, is literally something cannot or does not work. And the definition of broken for a gamer is something that is too powerful.
Yeah. Or too underpowerful, or like something that makes it not like unbalances things is usually how gamers use it.
Yeah, it's like, I mean, we talked about it in the past. We talked about it when, the whole SAB thing, the game's like spaghetti code. It's like built on like, and, hypothetically, maybe, last time when they had to nerf the thief, they were like, hey, look, now we can sit in chairs.
I think that was really close to that same patch. Oh man,
nerfing thieves in chairs.
Yep, it was somehow attached to it.
Hey, it took 5 years to be able to sit in chairs? Come on.
Yeah, exactly. That's why they were like, well, we just got to keep the thief nerfed.
Apparently, you can't sit in the benches in the PvP lobby. There's like some benches.
You don't want to know what that'll do to the thief. I mean.
I know you can sit on some of the things, but you can't open boxes while you're sitting on the stuff.
Oh, that's lame.
Yeah, it's weird.
Wait,
that's actually nerfing Elementalist. that unlocks that feature. That's my new favorite game. Is what has to be.
Don't worry.
Who be nerfed to fix a bug?
Yeah, like in your inventory, the bags and stuff, you can't open those while you're sitting. You have to be standing to do that, apparently.
Underwater combat for Revenant will get fixed.
Oh.
but there'll be no.
Can it be implemented first or? No, they've added more, so we're getting better of it.
Yeah, it's a progression.
Yeah.
But actually, this subject actually brings up something that I think we've talked about before. It's not really related to forums, but it's like the AMAs they have after a Living Story patch. Like, we want to give details and examples and like speak from experience, but like, not a majority of people have the experience. I guess like the people who are on Reddit are like the hardcore Guild Wars 2 players that will play the patch right away. But I don't know. I feel
honestly, I was very much hopeful when I think when they had that issue where they couldn't do an AMA on Reddit until like the 5th or the Friday after, and they were like, I think they even said, they're like, oh yeah, this turned out like a lot better. I was like, see, like let people actually play for a couple days, and but then they then they did their own. But
I personally would like it the Friday after too, because it's like the end of the week too.
They should. In my opinion, they should wait at least a week before they do those.
Yeah. So let's move away from the forum discussion. Like I said, I'm surprised that I knew it was going to be something, but I didn't know it was going to be that much of a something. But let us talk about, since it was kind of a slow news week, we wanted to maybe talk about map design. So, take it away. Camera.
Not finished.
Get it. So, after Zero to Hero, after we close the stream on Wednesdays, I go to the gym. I get there at about 9:30. I'm there until about 11:30. I have crazy amounts of energy, and I can't sleep until about 1:32 in the morning. So I decided to hop in.
Wait, after the gym?
Yeah.
Are you tired after the gym?
No.
That's
weird. You should do the gym in the morning.
I can't. I don't have time. The adrenaline is nuts. So I was in Lake Doric because I need to defend Sadra's Haven to finish the Piece of the Sentient Anomaly. And I had a problem, and it led to me thinking about map design. So currently, most of our maps fall into 3 broad categories. A Type 1 map is mostly open with event chains. Primarily, this is Quarteria, Path of Fire design. So you've got big chains that go through. They don't really overlap unless they get started at weird times. Sorry, Inks. I can't help it. Then we've got Type 2 maps where it's a little more meta focused, where you've got 2 or 3 different mini metas that are kind of split. For example, since I was in Lake Doric, each of the major settlements are basically their own mini meta. You have to either take it back from the White Mantle or defend it from the White Mantle, and it's a push and pull in each of the settlement areas. And then you've got the Type 3 maps, which are literally just the whole map is a meta. And this is pretty much all of Heart of Thorns, and then Dry Top and Silver Waste before it.
Yep.
And I'll get to the problems with Type 2 because that's why I brought up this whole conversation. But the Type 3 maps, the broader problems tend to be more like burnout. And with like the alternate map manipulation for additional rewards. But it's one of those things where there's not too many like broads, like there's no social problem with them.
Unless they're not in South Lane and North Basin.
What's that?
You said unless they're not in South Lane and North Basin.
Well, that's because people don't understand. Like, you'd think that all of the Rangers would be like, I can use Longbow 4 and not get yelled at? But anyway, the Type 2 maps are where I have a problem. And specifically, it is pulling the player base, since the mini metas can overlap, it pulls the player base to multiple places in the map. The personal example is I had freed Sadra's Haven. The defense event came up. There was one other person there. I threw up my mentor tag. I was like, map chat, hey, we need more people to defend Sadra's Haven. And those defense events take like 5 to 10 minutes, depending on how many people show up.
Yeah.
Because you have to DPS down a legendary. But the response I got in map chat is, we're at the leather farm. No.
Nice.
So I'm going to
at least they responded and just didn't ignore you.
I mean, that's a fair point. I'm going to counterpoint myself in hopes of not seeming biased here. This could just be a symptom of the leather farm itself existing.
Yeah.
And I don't want to get into the market issues that necessitated its creation in the first place. And the fact that it was, 1 a.m. So very much not a peak time for East Coast US. But still, it's one of those things where the reason they created the raid hub in Lion's Arch is because people had a problem with raiders standing AFK in Verdant Brink screwing up the meta because there were just a whole bunch of people standing there and taking up slots on the map.
Yeah.
So this seems to be the kind of map type, and exactly QED, Bloodstone Fen, Justicar versus the Jade Constructs. This has been kind of what the Living Story maps have been these maps with these mini metas that all cycle through, sometimes at the same time. The problem that is going to arise, and I've complained about it before, is that they're adding a new map with every single story chapter. And they're just stretching the player base more and more. And it's going to get to the point where we're going to see these issues closer and closer to peak times because there's just nobody to go there. I know another counterpoint is get a guild group, do it at prime time. And I'm like, yeah, that's great, but like,
not everybody can really do that.
Exactly. And the other thing is, like, are you willing to make maps? Like, why are you developing these maps in order to basically guarantee that they become empty maps in the future?
Yeah. Well, I mean, one thing they could do is go back, like, after these maps are many maps behind when they were current, go back and make some of those events a bit easier to do, like with 1, maybe 2 players. Just so that there's less of a barrier to that, because you won't have as many people as you had when they were new. Like, that's always going to be the peak of when you have people on the maps.
I'll admit the Sadra's Haven scaling, like, it was spawning the waves per defense area were like minimum 3, and they were all at least veterans. And the White Mantle there hurt.
Yeah.
This is the true Guild Wars. You have to have your guild group doing that defense event, and then the other guild group that's doing the leather farm, they're like, no, we're doing this. You get out of our map. You get out of our map. Guild Wars has been realized. Oh my God.
Wait. Guild Wars 2, Civil War. Bring back an old meme.
Yeah.
I think the Inks brought up an interesting part of the replayability of the map, and I think it's going to be more of a problem the more Living Story we get, just because they keep adding a new map every single time. And I've voiced my issues with that from the very beginning. It's just that I feel like the more you add more maps, the more you're spreading out without giving decent reasons for going back. So if you've done like all the achievements, for example, it's like you're done. When they brought back the legendary to make the legendary Aurora, everyone went back to those maps because, that was part of the thing you had to do. But like now it's just like, if you want like trinkets or things like that, you just do the hearts dailies, things like that to farm. There's a few other mats you want too, but basically that's the reasons you would go back. So after you've done everything. So I think it's a big issue going forward, and it comes back to the main issue of going back to the old maps, but they're kind of like time blocks because of certain parts of the story. And I've read somewhere on Reddit, I forgot where, but a person really enjoyed the fact that in the very beginning, Tyria was a living world in terms of maps were changing due to events happening in the world. But it seems like we can't get that. I would be okay with that for personal story, but as for living world, I feel like if we're going to introduce new maps, try to go back to some of those old maps and create changes in those regards.
That's how am I blanking on his name now? One of the guys I follow on Twitter started a big conversation with it, and I talked to him about it a lot.
Was this Levi about calling?
Levi, thank you. Yes. I was like, why am I blanking on his name? He started talking about the living world and what happened to the ever-evolving world. And the point that I made with that is that as much as I liked it, and I know a lot of people liked it, they also got significant feedback about it that it was negative because it made people who missed those events, it brought out to them that they missed that, and it made them feel like there was this thing that they could never do and take part in, and they could never see what it was like before that. And it's the same thing with the season 1 story, all of those big events that happened. They were amazing and they were great, but for everybody who never got to experience it, it's a constant like, hey, this great thing that happened, you never got to experience it. So that's where they came back with their big pullback of like changing the world and having it evolved. And they don't want to do instancing in the world because they don't want to split up players in different versions of the maps depending on what content they've done or not done. So they won't do that either.
So now they just split people among maps.
Right.
So it's like literally a catch-22 where you have an issue of where you don't want players who miss stuff to feel neglected, but you also run into the issue of spreading people, your population thinner.
Yep. I think they tried to recapture that a little bit with the current events things they were doing, a much smaller scale, but like, you know, as you found those and progressed through those, different changes happened, and like you had the anomalies appearing or disappearing and all of that. So I think that was kind of what they were trying to recapture that on some scale. But yeah, it's...
I suppose the problem I have with your point that you made about not wanting people to basically feel bad for missing the big events is then no one can ever experience the big events.
Yeah.
Like it's the negative on the other side is that like, yeah, you're sad that you missed, say, the Attack on Lion's Arch, but now you will never experience something to the scale of the Attack on Lion's Arch.
Yep.
And, you know, I said in the past how it's like, it'd be great if, you know, somehow they are able to figure out a way to implement it of like a mist portal has opened and like, you know, it could take you back into like a version of that that's an updated map, because I know that was another issue, is like the maps are probably outdated and stuff. But now I was sitting here thinking, because I was like, you know, Arlie, you're talking about how, you know, people are missing out on that. I totally understand that. But I was like, well, I didn't partake in the American Civil War. Like,
that's a totally different thing. You're not buying a game to play.
But I was thinking, I was like, what if they implement reenactments?
Oh my God. Oh my God.
And like the Scarlet Invasion, there's just like some guy, like, what wasn't like the first Mad King like Halloween thing where it was like a guy in like literally a pumpkin helmet, like you could see his like face in there, like literally have like maybe like a human just like painted green with like twigs on her head, like pretending to be Scarlet.
Well, I was just thinking they could do a reenactment of the Karka invasion, having like a whole bunch of Skritt piled up together, working a giant like Karka.
Yeah, like honestly, I think that would be somewhat hilarious if that's how they try to reintroduce, because it would feel like a living world, like how the world is now. People want to experience that thing, so they have the reenactments.
Yeah. I feel when you said reenactments, I thought you meant something like some of the things that were one time only could come back for like a limited amount of time. So like the South Sun event, that I feel like you could actually reenact.
Yeah, it would be cool if they could do that in some way.
Initially, yeah, like I said, like they could just be like a mist portal was opened and like it can show you that literally one. But hey, if we want to make it like the actual, you know, real world, let's just call it reenactments and make it look somewhat like people are literally dressing up as the thing.
As long as one of the Scarlet reenactments involves a Char wearing the pigtail wig, just for the sheer comedy factor, and that's Scarlet for that year.
Yeah.
Yeah, And also, yeah, the Zekrex does bring up a point with fractals. I feel like some those past stories could be retold.
And some of them have.
Some of them, and some of them would be kind of difficult though.
That
like the
kinda-
whole marionette thing would be.
Yeah, that would be good for like a reenactment. But the way I described it, not Deo's.
Oh, come on. It would be
like
great.
Deo, I'm not going to lie.
I love Deo's idea. I think it would be great.
But,
Yeah.
But the problem with fractals is that it doesn't seem like fractals take a long time. Like I don't think we've gotten one in a while.
Well, and that's the key idea of fractals, is there's something that you should be able to jump in and do one of if you want for something quick, or you can do a bunch of if you have more time. Like that was the whole guiding principle of creating the fractals in the first place.
Oh no, I'm not talking about like the actual, I'm talking about the development of new fractals.
Oh, okay.
So in terms of getting them out, it feels like we're getting 2 or 3 a year now.
Mm-hmm.
So trying to get all that living story out. Well, it actually makes it's actually probably a good idea if they could just piece out parts of the living story and those fractals. That'd be kind of neat.
Yeah.
I
don't
I would say
every episode.
Not every episode, just the ones that kind of work.
Yeah.
Well, I think we're really straying away from the map design idea. Partially my fault, I will admit, but I really wanted to make that joke. But maybe it would make them money. Speaking of making Guild Arena some money, let's talk about the gem store. And thank you always to Dolphy.net. Check out Dolphy.net so you can spend your gems more wisely. So first up, we got the Venom Blade, the Venom Warp Blade. My apologies. 600 gems. As you can see here, it kind of leaves a green trail when drawn or slashing around. So, I mean, has anyone in chat picked this up, or has anyone here possibly picked it up?
I dare not make use of any heretic technology from the warp.
Must construct additional pylons. But cool. I don't want to get it just because it would be good for Necro. Necros can't wield swords. So
Yet.
Yes.
I mean, we basically knew that Necro would get Greatsword going into Heart of Thorns, but we don't know if Necro will ever get Sword. So
yeah.
But maybe eventually.
I mean, eventually you're going to run out of weapons that they don't have already. So
dual staffs.
That would actually, I'd be pretty okay with that on like a warrior.
I will make a Dynasty Warriors Yukimura if that happens.
Zakriox, I like that. Like a Shiro Revenant, like using this. Yeah.
Yeah, that fits for.
That actually works. Yeah.
Yeah, I like that. Except I'm never gonna stop using my hero Mist Sword. So.
I can't disagree with that. Those those are limited edition. They only put out so many tickets for those.
Right.
Mm-hmm. Well, you can pick that up for 700 gems, and seems like some people in chat are eyeing it up. So definitely, can't wait to see everybody running around with them. Also, you can get the Elite Reinforcement package for 3,000 gems. It has 1 instant AD ticket, 2 bag slot expansions, 1 character slot expansion, 1 bank tab expansion, and 1 central tier waypoint unlock cache, which I believe that's the one that includes all the core Tyria waypoints because I think they separate them into regions, but that'll include all the core Tyria regions.
If you're new to the game,
if you're coming in from Bless Online and you're on your first character, do not use Lady Boost.
I highly recommend that. Honestly, I wouldn't recommend the package for new players, to be honest. I feel like you should go into the game and try to experience it from a leveling up perspective, just to get the best feel out of it and seeing if it's for you. I don't think dropping 3,000 gems off the bat just to get everything and try to explore afterwards makes it better.
Yeah.
Then like the finding a new waypoint sometimes, that's like kind
of
I remember traveling through ore, and it's just like, okay, where's a waypoint? I don't want to die out here.
Yeah.
So
QD kind of at that point it's like, if you're a new player, I wouldn't recommend it just because of what I said, but then if you're an experienced player, you kind of don't need it.
Yeah.
I actually I would recommend for the player. I thought you guys were gonna make the thing because you talked about the Bless people coming. I was like, if you maybe got your refund from Bless, you know, you can't do much worse. You know, might as well pick up that package. You'll at least get something from a game that actually is gonna stay around for, you know.
Aye.
And Jabo has a point. Like, you buy the game, if you get both expansions, you get 2 level 80 passes.
Yeah.
Like,
to each their own. If you want it, go for it. That's just my recommendation.
And and that's the thing. Maybe you're playing through on your first character and you're farming and stuff. You can actually buy the thing with in-game gold, you know, converting it. So you technically could possibly pay nothing, but it is going to be 3,000 gems if you want it instantly. But yeah, so also some returning items that are discounted. Yeah, actually discounted. I know, Inks.
On sale, not forced, not just forced.
The Casimir's package, Marjorie's package, and Rox's package are each 1,360 gems, which is 15% off, and Timey's package is at 1,700 gems, which is also 15% off, and so is Bram's Bitter Frost Frontier package at 1,700 gems, which is 35% off.
Okay, I'll make this weird for a second. I would like to point out all the females have package, and Bram's, who's a male, has a Frontier pack. I'm done. All right. I'm just pointing out.
Where's the sad trombone noise? Deo, insert here.
No, there is no Uncle Trombone package.
It's just something I noticed. It's just, I don't know why the naming went differently, but
as long as the Timey hairstyle comes with the Timey package. Clearly, it's all over that one.
That is a good question.
I don't think it does, but
I don't think so.
Ritlock trombone, yes.
But would you guys recommend any of those?
I mean,
I know a lot of people like the Bram outfit that comes in there, so that's an option. I mean,
the Casimir one comes with her staff, right?
Yeah, I believe so.
Casimir's staff and outfit are pretty good looking, especially if you dig her whole Mesmer aesthetic, which is naked and covered in illusions.
Yeah.
And I don't know why they don't make more opportunity to make use of that as a joke in game. I really don't understand.
Well, they did refer to the thing as Casimir's package. Just connecting the dots.
I'm just looking at each of the packs, and it looks like you get the outfit, you get 1 weapon skin, you get dyes, you get a total makeover kit, and you get something else extra. So, for example, Casimir's, you would get the Phoenix Glider, and for Bram's, you would get Mini Garm, for example. So,
oh, wow. No, with just the total makeover kit, I'd say those are worth it with total makeover kit, outfit, weapon. And then on top of all the extra stuff, yeah, if you dig at least 2 of the 3 of those things, I would say it's pretty worth it.
There you
go. All right, let's move on. Last up in Community Corner. We did miss this last week, and I do apologize. Ada GW2, which I don't know if she's still in chat, but frequents in chat, is also part of, I believe, the Herald's Yours to Guild news. She made the Contender Reigns of the Quaggan, which was basically she's using a Quaggan tonic and trying to run basically the first race in Amnoon. So I don't want to spoil it, but it's definitely has a nice ending. I definitely recommend going to watch it. Let me throw it in chat just in case. And if you are watching this on YouTube, of course, all the links and stuff will be in the description. But definitely worth checking out. It's about an 11-minute video, but even me, a person that's not a big fan of Quaggans, I did feel bad because spoiler at the beginning. I mean, you're a Quaggan. Everybody else is on mounts. I'm guessing you all know how that went. So even part of me, I was like, oh, poor Quaggan.
Dustin.
Race with a happy ending. Yes.
Dustin.
Mac, be nice. You.
But yeah, definitely go check it out. Any thoughts?
Content creators.
Yay!
Yeah.
Bonsai.
Always nice to see more stuff from people.
Yeah. Please also like drop stuff in our Discord because I don't mind looking around for stuff, but it's much easier.
If it's there, it's just better.
But yeah, so shameless plug for the Discord. It's if you're on Twitch, down below in the description should be. If you're on YouTube, watching this on YouTube, in the description as well. Come hang out and all that stuff. But yeah, that is it for this week. And Jim, where can they find you?
I can be found on Twitter at MalfanisMMO. You can also find me here on twitch.tv/TalkingSkrit every Wednesday at 7 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time for our 0 to Hero PvP night, where we will be back on the ranked grind this week. I'm hoping to get my placement matches done beforehand so I can, boost Arlie into gold while I'm still in silver like we did last time. So hope to see you all there.
Some awesome.
The statements Malfanix makes does not reflect the thoughts of Talking Skrit.
And Age, where can they find you?
You can find me on Twitch and YouTube at Age Night Road. I did not stream a lot this week. It's weird things happened. I was super tired. Tried streaming Thursday, but Orwell's World kind of like just died out because I guess everyone was tired of the no downstate thing. But yeah. Honestly, I'll probably stream like once or twice a week until I move, and then I'll probably take a few days off, and I'll probably stream more after that. So yeah.
Awesome. And Robin, where can they find you?
They can find me on Twitch and Twitter at Arlie82. I streamed a little bit this week, not as much as I had previously, but I'm hoping to pick that back up again some more this week. And yay, things.
Awesome. And you can find me at simply_Dale on Twitch and Twitter. And yeah, kind of been busy with work and of course, like I said last week, the prepping for getting other things underway for our channel. But I did get to stream last night. Got to play some Warframe and their new story bit, and definitely would recommend if you're able to stomach it and play, because I know we've talked about that many times. Of it does things to people. But yeah, thank you everybody for coming out. Unfortunately, once again, I think I'm gonna have to try to contact Twitch because this was another great offline stream that we cannot thank anyone who hosted us.
Yes, we're all off. This is totally offline. We're broadcasting directly to your heads.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Telepathy.
Maybe we're in the beta for their next thing they're gonna announce at TwitchCon. We're streaming it right to your head. But thank you to whoever hosted. But go check them out. Who they are. Maybe they'll let themselves be known.
So weird. I'm
yeah, I gotta figure out, see if it's, because it sounds like it's account based. But we can always talk about that. But if you are watching this, we do highlight this on Twitch. But if you prefer YouTube, we throw it up on YouTube Sundays at noon Eastern, 9 a.m. Pacific. And that just search Talking Skrit. Usually the first one pops up. If you're watching this on YouTube, make sure to come out, because apparently Ada, when we were talking about her video, was talking about a little giveaway they're doing and gave a little heads up to the people in chat. So it sometimes pays to show up live. So you can do that. Just we go live 4 p.m. Eastern, 1 p.m. Pacific. We do a bit of a pre-show, after show. So, fun times all around. Twitch.tv/TalkingSkrit. And I think that's it. Community Discord, all that stuff. But we will see everybody next week. And always see you in the game. Good night, everybody.